Welcome back everyone to a new video on the channel. It's been a hot minute since I last uploaded, which is, I don't know, kind of a recurring theme on my channel at this point. Keep in mind this is just my hobby, so if and when I do make a video, it is because I found the time to, and also because I have something that's maybe a bit interesting to make a video about, which, well, for today's video, is this Radeon HD 6850, which is the one that I ran for Cheapaz Chips, which has ended like 2 weeks ago. I placed second overall, first in 3D Mark Vantage, second in Heaven, and I think fourth in Firestrike, which overall got me into second place. Actually ahead of Shaggy and just, I think, 7 points behind Tag, who just, I don't know, he and Shaggy came in like last day and took a lot of the top scores, including the Firestrike one, that was Tag, who took the top score in Firestrike with an absolutely insane, like, what, 5100? So yeah, it's just nothing that I can do there really, because Firestrike cares about core clock, doesn't care about memory. I was able to push 1385 memory through Firestrike, and I got, I think, a 4580 something, and I got a much better score later on, my current fourth place score, which is a 4793 at, I think, 1320 memory. So yeah, Firestrike on 6850s just does not give a flying insert swear word here about your memory clock. It cares all about core, and I was running dry ice for all of my benches, and Tag he was running LN2, he was running like 1400 core, and I was running, I think, 1330 core, so yeah, just 70 megahertz difference, plus whatever he did in terms of OS efficiency or LOD is just nothing I could do. But I'm pretty proud of that Vantage score that I got, because that is some absolutely, like, insane OS efficiency at play right there. 24202, I think, which is, well, 1,000 points ahead of what Tag was able to achieve on LN2. So yeah, I got that on dry ice at much lower clocks than he did. Kind of makes me wonder what kind of score I would have been able to get if I already had access to LN2. Same actually kind of goes for my Heaven score, because Tag, he was able to get a 3080 point something, and I got a, I think, 3074.01, and you know, 3074 is what matters. Also on dry ice, so like literally sitting right behind him. But yeah, anything more than that was just not meant to be, unfortunately. So much for the scores. Let's talk about the card itself. This is actually the exact same card that Sawyer was running, except that, well, I mean, mine does look a tad bit different than his does. Well, because I threw an E-Power at it, which is actually something that Sawyer wanted to do as well, but I guess he didn't end up doing that because his card was just kind of trash. You know, its phase change gets almost as cold as dry ice, not quite. But yeah, I mean, at the temperatures his phase change can achieve, which is like -50, -60, somewhere around that. Yeah, his card, or rather his core, number one, didn't scale with voltage, and number two, yeah, did like 1150. Kind of makes me wonder, you know, what he would have been able to achieve if he had a card like mine that actually scales. But it seems as though that's kind of a common theme among these 6850s. You just get some that are really quite good, and then there's just some out there that just are, frankly, utter garbage. And Sawyer unfortunately landed on one that, yeah, just a garbage, straight up garbage card. Again, kind of genuinely makes me wonder what scores he would have been able to get if he had a, well, good card. I digress. The mods I did to the card, and the reasons I did them, is what I want to talk about here. Well, the E-Power Obviously, that one went on there in great part because these 6850s, or I should say this particular 6850 from Sapphire, comes with an NCP 5000 series PWM controller, which is just, well, put it this way, it has a functional overvoltage protection, which sucks for overclockers like me, because I do not want it to shut down if it's like 100 millivolts above stock, if even that. Yeah, these they trip early, and they actually, again, they have a functional overvoltage protection. And the e-power itself, the board, is just like my classic GTX 560/560 Ti ASUS DirectZU2 e-power board. It's a 6-phase, a fairly potent one at that, and it's really compact. So it's one of the reasons why I actually really like turning 560 Ti's from ASUS into e-powers, because like you get a really compact 6-phase. But yeah, we can see the card is covered in black. It's not Plastidip. This is liquid, or well, it was liquid electrical tape. It no longer is, obviously. Purpose, I believe, is rather obvious for insulation, and it worked really well. I was able to run this card on dry ice for literally hours. I think the longest benching session I did with this card was like 6 hours. The back as well, but yeah. Also, right here, I guess I could perfect transition to talk about the mods I did, aside from the e-power, which that one was obvious. PCIe Gen 2 mod right here. I didn't have any 10K like through-hole resistors, so what I did is I just took one of the potentiometers I have, and it's a 10K one, so I just used that as the pull-up resistor for GPIO2, I believe is what the signal is called. It forces the card to run PCIe Gen 2 speeds. You can see basically all of the original VRM output filter capacitors, as you can see, have been moved to the back of the PCB, and that's really just for clearance reasons, and also because it was just more convenient to then, like after attaching the e-power, it was more convenient to have these on the back rather than on the front. There's a bunch of additional memory capacitors right here. So basically it's like for each memory bank has an additional 820 microfarad 3-volt capacitor on it. The core also has some additional capacitance on it, so these are the same ones that are used for the memory. And there's also one VDDCI capacitor right here, I believe, or it could be that one actually. It's like one of these 3 is for VDDCI, the other 2 are for core. The last mods, well, frankly, obviously volt mods right here. So MC, it's a memory controller, and then just M is obviously the memory, and then this right here this is just voltage sense. So purple, VDDCI, yellow is memory, red is core, and black, obviously, that is ground. Yeah. That's, frankly, actually all, really, that there is about the card. I talked about the scores, talked about the mods, talked about the insulation, the e-power. Yep. It's going to be it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah. Hope to see you guys again in the very next video. Have a good one.